I had a really hard time. It's like I was in speech class. So I was like, Funyun, fun.
I was pissed that they were like, yeah, it rhymes with Funyun. I was like, why didn't you say it rhymes with onion?
Yeah.
Funyun is a play on onion. It's not a real word.
Now that you said that, I'm more mad that I didn't even realize that at the time. Because I'm just like, yeah, like Funyun. I'm just like a dumb idiot that's like, yeah, I can relate to that more than onion.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, where men of fantasy genius have realized, hey guys, we don't need real football skills to dominate on the fantasy field. Yeah. So slap on your pads and grab your helmet. Shit's about to get real.
Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I am your host for tonight. My name is Nick Walsh, and I am here for the Week 7. It's crazy that we are 7 weeks in, but we are. I'm here for the Week 7 preview with my good friend Vinny Gonzalez. Vinny, what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Yeah, that's crazy. That's what is that, halfway through for us pretty much, who do Week 15, 16 playoffs, and then more than halfway for people who do buys. Yeah,
I guess after this week it'll be more than halfway for the the week.
We're here.
Yeah. It's if you're doing bad, you're pretty much doing bad. If you're doing good, hopefully you can keep it up. You're not completely out of it if you're doing bad. I'm 1-5 in one league, and it fucking sucks because like every time I look at my roster, I'm like, my roster's good, like my team's good. It's just like I've come up against a couple buzzsaw weeks and also like just gotten some bad luck and that kind of shit. So that's me complaining on the podcast. But we'll
that is always the worst though. When you have a solid team and you're just getting fucked, it's
yeah. Because like I look at it and it's like a lot of the time, like in our league, I was like, all right, I'm going to make some trades. Like my team has some obvious weaknesses. I'm going to make some trades to address these weaknesses. In that one, I'm like, I don't know what I should be doing here. It's just not working. Yeah,
it's just like so much self-doubt, and you're like, I feel like I should do something, but I don't need to, and I don't know. I'm just like sitting here I'm just putting up points, but not winning.
Yeah. I'm like looking at the waiver wire and it's like, which one of these wide receivers is really a better bench stash than Brandon Ayuk, and like, which one, like, are any of these running backs like a better bench stash than like fucking like Justin Jackson? Like, I don't think so. It's so
I've done all I can.
Yeah. You look at that shit and it's like, all right, what can you do? Anyway, Week 7, pretty big week in terms of some interesting games. Do want to let everyone know that, and who knows, like we're recording this on Friday night. The COVID and the injury news is coming hot and heavy right now. So, half the shit we say might be out of date. Make sure you're checking news sources and certainly Sunday morning, making sure that the advice that we're giving still makes sense given the injuries, COVID situations, that sort of thing. But the big one, more for DFS than anything else, is that the Raiders-Bucks game got moved from Sunday night to the afternoon slot, to the 4 o'clock Eastern slot, which is a bummer. I was looking forward to watching that game on Sunday night. But we do get a good replacement with Seattle, Arizona. And if you're playing a main slate on DraftKings or FanDuel, that means Seattle and Arizona, I believe, will not count for those. So make sure you are rebuilding any lineups that you may have made with those two teams, which I'm sure we're going to be extremely, extremely popular.
Yes. Also, they backed this up to that 4:30 slot, which I thought originally was weird, but they did it because they wanted to guarantee a primetime game, and then it leaves leeway to move it to a Tuesday or a double Monday if they need to move it.
Right. I mean, I believe the situation is like if the Raiders offensive line plus Jonathan Abrams, the safety, if they get 2 negative tests in a row, Sunday morning is like they'll be cool, like they'll have quarantined enough and then they can go play. But it's the situation is like if the offensive lineman can't go, you can't play a game with less than 8 offensive linemen active, and the Raiders would have less than 8 offensive linemen available, so they would have to move to Monday or Tuesday. So I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to that game, but it is convoluted and annoying and really, really frustrating because the Raiders have had 2 surprise wins against good teams. And I was like, man, maybe they can just be a giant killer this year and I can like get in on that and that'll be fun. But it seems less and less likely.
I mean, especially with that.
Yep. All right. With that being said, we'll get right into the games. No, we won't. We'll go through the bye teams first. So the teams on the bye are the Indianapolis Colts, the Miami Dolphins, the Baltimore Ravens, and the Minnesota Vikings. All things told, not too many like fantasy, like not huge volumes of fantasy players. I feel like these are a lot of teams with somewhere between like 1 and 3 relevant fantasy players, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see that. With like Lamar, he's pretty much the only consequential quarterback in this bunch. So, and then pretty much you're waiting for Cooks to get back for the Vikings, and then I guess you lose Gaskin and Tom. Was it JT from the Colts? So that's about it.
Yeah, Miles the Fridge Gaskin. If that guy, man, if they had just let him loose against the Jets, the money that I would have right now. Such
a weird win for them.
Yeah, bizarre. Another thing we should mention with the Dolphins, I mean, I doubt anyone's really in this situation, but if you were for some reason holding on to Ryan Fitzpatrick through this bye week as like a backup quarterback, don't. He's no longer the starter. Tua Tagovailoa has been announced as the starter. Ryan
Interesting
Fitzpatrick.
Move.
Interesting move for sure, because they have a shot at the playoffs. Like, they're not out of it.
I think that's why they did. I don't understand really, because like if Fitz is hot, and I guess this is like as hot as he's been, like let him go, like keep going. But I don't know. I guess they're tapping out of the magic quick and hopping onto Tua just in time to play. I think they play the Rams, so Aaron Donald might fuck Tua up.
Yeah, their schedule, and I remember reading this, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's like a bizarre time to be like, all right, Tua, you're the guy. One, because you're throwing them to the Wolves, and two, because from a fan's perspective, if you see him come in and just like suck, you're going to be like, well, what's the deal here? Maybe it's not as bad as I initially thought, but Rams, that's a tough one. Cardinals, that's whatever. Chargers, I mean, the Chargers theoretically should be a good defense, but aren't really. And then Broncos. And then after that, it gets really easy. But if I know
those are all pretty good pass rushes, man.
Yeah.
Outside of the Cardinals.
You want to install him, I guess, on the bye week is, I guess, the thinking, give the offense a couple weeks to adjust. But to me, I'm waiting until Fitz doesn't do it through like the Broncos game, and then I'm giving him Jets and Bengals for his first 2 NFL starts.
There you go. Yeah. Inspire hope.
Yeah. That's sort of my move there. But, that's what the Dolphins are doing. Fitz said he was heartbroken. It truly felt like the first time it was his team since the Bills, which,
oh man, that's sad.
Sad to hear, but also like, dude, they just drafted Tua. What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought he was like I saw the headline grabs. It was like, yeah, like him very upset and all this. I'm just like, this has happened to you several times, like an outstanding amount of times. Like you think he'd be like happy, or I don't know. I guess this really beat him up, but
yeah.
Still love Fitz.
Yeah, I gotta love him, and he was playing well. So rip to Fitz 2020 season. Unless Aaron Donald eats Tua next week, but
very likely.
Yeah, definitely possible. Let's jump right into these games, and we'll start off with your Cincinnati Bengals, who are at home, and they are facing the Cleveland Browns, a rematch of Week 2, I believe, where Cleveland won 35-40. So in that game, and sorry, Cleveland is a 3.5-point favorite with an over/under of 50.5. So not too bad. In that game, Cleveland really dominated on the ground. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt combined for 210 yards rushing on 32 carries and 3 touchdowns. And then Joe Burrow threw the ball like 61 times because they were playing from behind, and he got that backdoor cover as he did those first couple of weeks of the season.
Hell yeah.
So let's start on the Cleveland side of the ball. They looked awful this past week against that Pittsburgh pass rush. Do you think they are going to fare any better against Cincinnati?
Yeah, for sure. I think they'll be able to do much more on the ground, which definitely helps Baker, who's still not 100% from the ribs. So that's already a plus right there. The Bengals get Mike Daniels back, but that's really all the help they're getting. William Jackson will be out this game, so that is huge for Odell. He already roasted them before, so for that massive touchdown grab, I could see that happening again. I think Landry, that opens things up for Landry as well. Just the Bengals are kind of too hurt right now to really put up a fight in a spot where I thought they could possibly surprise the Browns here, since that letdown loss when the Browns played the Steelers. So this is looking like more of the same. I think Hunt has a huge game just because he's going to be able to do it on the ground all by himself. And stay away from Baker. He just hasn't looked right, but he's going to do enough to support the guys they're playing, like Odell. Hooper's out this game, so really not much to do there. And then Jarvis, I think he could flex. This just seems like a spot where they're just going to beat up the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm with you, though. I think the Bengals have more of a shot than you're giving them in this game. I still think, the Cleveland offense will run fine, because what's really happened is Cleveland sucks against a good pass rush, and they're good against pass rushes that aren't better than league average. Like, the two games where they've just been rocked have been Baltimore and Pittsburgh, who are two of the best pass rushes in the NFL. Baltimore actually upgrading their pass rush this morning by trading for Yannick Ngakoue, but I guess we'll get to that later.
Joe Burrow might actually die when they play the Ravens again. Like, he's going to fucking actually die this time. He almost died. Now he's going to.
But yeah, against this Cincinnati pass rush, Baker has been a fine game manager when he's not under pressure. And that was one thing that I think should have led everyone to the Pittsburgh defense last week was Baker is one of the guys who's affected most by pressure and affected most negatively by pressure in the NFL. So this week, I think he'll be fine, but obviously not a play. Like you said, Kareem Hunt, just absolute, knock it out of the park. Should come up with, 175 total yards from scrimmage and probably 2 touchdowns, I think. Yeah. Odell, definitely agree with you that he's a good play. His best game of the season was against the Bengals. And I think with Hooper out, the thing that I'm concerned about with Landry is that he's also hurt. He's been dealing with nagging injuries. Now he's also got a rib injury. He's a tough guy. He always plays through these things. He's going to be out there. I feel I have trouble rolling him out unless you're really need to, which you might. And then, with Hooper out, any interest in a sneaky Harrison Bryant or David Njoku or no good on that?
Maybe Njoku for daily. I don't think season long you need to necessarily make that move.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm with you there. For the Bengals, the big story, well, a couple of big stories, I guess. The first one is that Joe Mixon is out, so it's the Geo show, unless, do you think Travion Williams or who's their other guy, Jacques Phillips, is that the guy's name?
They got P. Ryan, Samaje P. Ryan.
Oh, okay. Do you have any interest in, I guess, or do you project anything for those guys, or is it the Geo show?
It's going to be the Geo show. From what we've seen, it's the Bengals will pretty much give one back upwards of 17 touches and hope it goes well from there. And that's exactly what Geo averages when Mixon is out. So I think he's really a plug and play running back too in a situation like this where it's the matchup's kind of middle of the road and Geo's just going to get a lot of the touches.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. In the past when Mixon has missed, Gio's been an RB1, RB2 type guy, and it should work out again this week. Do you trust Burrow in this matchup? His first matchup, like I said, they threw the ball 61 times. Pretty good stuff there. Do you like it at all here?
I could see that happening again. Probably throw it more 45 times, though, not 60. That was pretty fucking crazy. But I think they're going to be down. I think they're going to have to play catch up, and the Bengals defense is not going to be helping them out at all. So I do think his ceiling is a little bit lower than it is compared to that last game, simply because I think the Browns are going to run so much clock. So I think opportunities will be probably a little less, but the game script will favor Burrow for a decent game. So I guess probably look elsewhere, but if you're really stressed or you need a spot play, I don't think it's the worst.
Okay, fair enough. And then the wide receivers, see, I'm a little disappointed because AJ Green came back and he led the team in targets, in air yards, in production, or at least in catches. I believe T. Higgins led the team in yards this past week, but right. AJ Green looked good for the first time all year. And I was very ready to just be okay, this is T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd every week starts in as long as it's not a really, really daunting matchup. This kind of throws a wrench in that for me. So how do you rank these three guys?
Still Boyd, Higgins, Green. Like do you mean like on the team or just like in general of
like for fantasy purposes?
Boyd is very high wide receiver 2. Higgins is low wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. And then AJ Green is like, I'm kind of fucked. Maybe I'll throw him in at flex wide receiver, like low end 3. I still think that's the case. I think the Colts game was kind of an anomaly. I mean, they started feeding Green, but it was sort of a weird game. And I think they were panicking. I think Green just made a lot of plays that he wasn't making in the first couple of weeks. So I think it's sort of on the outside, sort of an outlier game for him. I think Higgins is the real deal. And I think Boyd is just their one on the team.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I'm interested to see how it evolves going forward because, like I said, I was in my head. I was like, sweet, Higgins and Boyd, like those are the guys. And
right, exactly.
AJ Green comes back from the dead and makes me think about stuff. I don't want to think about things.
Conspiracy theory brain tells me they were force feeding him closer to the trade deadline. So perhaps he puts on 2 more good showings, and right before is it in 2 weeks. So I don't know. Maybe they're fluffing him up for the Patriots or whatever. Who the fuck wants him? But
I like
that is conspiracy brain right there.
Conspiracy brain. Joe Burrow is trying to save the United States from the cabal of elite pedophiles or whatever. I think there. I mean, hey, there might be some water to that. I love me a good conspiracy theory. I'll buy it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Bengals aren't smart enough for that, so Joe Burrow might
be. Yeah, who knows? All right, who do you want in this one?
I think the Browns win. I know it's kind of Debbie Downer shitting on the Bengals, and you kind of perked me up, but I still think Browns win.
All right, I'm taking the Bengals. Someone on this podcast has to support your team, so it might as well be me. All right, let's move to Dallas at Washington, which if you had told me before the season that in week 7, Dallas is going to play Washington and it is going to be a pick'em. The over-under is going to be Andy Dalton. Yeah, it's the Andy Dalton will be in there. This will be a pick'em. The over-under will be 46. I would have told you to fuck off. Despite this low-ish over-under at 46, this is 2 of the fastest-paced teams in the NFL. So I think it's going to be an up-tempo but sloppy type of game. Just how I like things, up-tempo and sloppy.
It's going to be like Thursday night was, just like it's bad, and then until it gets good, and even when it gets good, it's still pretty bad. It's just poorly played football. Yeah, we should have talked about that game. I had an analogy that I wanted to make about how football is just fun even when it's bad now. It was I was going to say that it's the same way that like bad horror movies are good. And it's like the 2018 Rams Chiefs game is like Hereditary or like the original Halloween, and last night's Eagles Giants game was like Jason X or whatever. Yeah, Jason in space. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I completely
actually that game was definitely Freddy versus Jason. Like it's just what the fuck is this? I kind of like it. I don't know. I shouldn't be liking this.
Yeah, no, that's probably what it was. Anyway, back to the Dallas Washington game. Sorry, I realized I wanted to talk about that in that way, and I didn't do it. On the Dallas side of the ball, Dalton was like really fucking bad in his first game.
Oh man, it was like I kind of like, just because he wasn't on the Bengals anymore, I was like, he can't be. Has he always looked like this? I was like watching it without blinders for the first time. I was like, oh no, this is bad.
Here's the thing. The Cardinals pass rush isn't that spectacular, and Dalton was getting rocked consistently.
Dallas has, it's not totally on Dalton. Obviously, because even Dak was having problems with that offensive line, and they've been having trouble, obviously, winning games and shit. But Dak is obviously way better, but it was him just getting blasted over and over, barely any time to throw. And then when he did, he was just making like bad throws and bad reads.
Yeah, very, very much so. So how do we deal with these wide receivers? Because we have Lamb and Cooper in the closer to the line of scrimmage type roles. Gallup is kind of set in his higher A-dot role, but lower target role. With this pressure, to me, I would think that Lamb and Cooper and Zeke are going to be the guys who benefit from it. What do you think against Washington, who also has a stellar pass rush?
I think we're going to see a lot of the same shit, a lot of quick outs to Cooper and a lot of like over the middle stuff to the slot with Lamb. And then I think the odd man out is going to be Gallup like more often than not. Can you have like a couple big plays a game? Yeah, but not in the style that they were playing early on with Dak. Like he was way more dynamic, way more willing and comfortable in the role and had a relationship with Gallup way before. Dalton's like incredibly new and is going to panic a lot and throw to his guys he can trust, which so far seems like the guys who are closer proximity to the line of scrimmage, which is going to be Cooper, Lamb, and Dalton Schultz, dude. Dalton to Dalton. He wasn't too bad last week either.
Yeah, he looked good when he was getting it. He only did get 5 targets, but what do you think about Zeke? He fumbled twice last week, so we saw 36% of the snaps and 10 carries go to Tony Pollard. Do you think there's any smoke to that fire going forward?
No, I think that was just a really bad mental game for Zeke. Pretty much cost them the game, and then Dalton could not save them. So it was rough. I think better things ahead for Zeke. Obviously, they wanted to get him involved early, and it just didn't work out. So it's going to be interesting to see how they take off this Washington-like pressure. I think they're going to use Zeke a lot.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Zeke's just such a high-floor guy because he's used so much in the run game and the pass game. Fun fact, though, he does not have a 100-yard rushing game so far this season. So definitely disappointing. Even if Zeke does have this high floor, he hasn't really shown that ceiling yet. So we'll see if it comes out at any point. For the Washington football team, which I think they said they're keeping the name through next year, which I kind of like. It's growing on me.
Yeah, I do like it too.
Yeah. All right. So I think fantasy-wise, we really just need to talk about, mostly
two guys.
I'm going to mention 4, but
who's the 4th?
It's Logan Thomas.
Okay, wait. Who's the 3rd?
J.D. McKissick.
Oh, fuck. You're still on that? He's been interesting, to say the least.
He has a floor. He
certainly does. A lot of passing work.
Yeah, let's just talk about these running backs. They're basically splitting snaps. Gibson is getting slightly more running work, but still getting a little bit of passing work, and McKissick is getting slightly more passing work and still a little bit of running work.
They're both very good floor plays. Like Gibson is the floor king this year. He's getting 7 to around 16 points. It's like very, very floor games for a running back. It's not what you wanted out of like a rookie coming in and expecting him to just take over, but you get what you get. And I think he's the most reliable guy to get a touchdown in this backfield with Peyton Barber on the outs. So you have that upside for him. And then the upside with J.D. McKissick is he's getting a lot more passing work. So I think they both have their floors. And I'm sorry I shit on you before. I think, they're probably both plays.
In an up-tempo game against a bad defense, I think you can play both of them pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about McLaurin, who he has 11 more targets than the next highest Washington player over the last 4 games. Over that same time, he has more than 200 more air yards than Logan Thomas, who's the next highest guy, and he has over 140 more actual receiving yards than J.D. McKissick, who's the next highest guy. Terry McLaurin is like going to fuck Dallas up in this game, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say most likely a top 5 finish for Terry McLaurin this week. I just think the matchup's too good. They're going to throw the entire game, and the matchup is awesome.
Yeah, it's, he's going to be I will have exposure to him in DFS for sure, and if you own him in season long, you should absolutely be playing him with a ton of confidence. So let's talk about Logan Thomas briefly. I picked him up in one league. I'm realizing that I probably should have picked up Dick Rod after his game last night.
That's okay.
Yeah, what can you do? But this is going to be a bit of a scant tight end week because you have Trey Burton, you have Mike Gesicki, who may or may not have been getting used by you, and you have Mark Andrews, and Irv Smith, who's kind of come all on the bye. So at a position that's already thin, Logan Thomas got a touchdown last week. Like I said, fast-paced game, bad defense. He hasn't gotten more than 4 targets in, I think, 3 weeks. But to me, he's a guy that could work out for you. You're kind of just It's one of those bye-week tight end plays where you're like, please get a touchdown. Please get a touchdown. You know?
Yeah, and in a game where we're expecting this to go over the implied total, like, why the fuck not? I really don't have a problem with it. I like it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to take Washington.
Dallas, I think they get right. But I think this is going to be fun. I don't know.
I'm kind of interested in it. Like, you know, slightly morbid curiosity, but definitely curiosity.
Yeah.
All right. Moving to a very high over-under game, Detroit at Atlanta, with Atlanta as a 2.5-point favorite and over-under of 56.5. This is a game to attack. Both teams have played up in pace this year. Both teams have bad defenses. So starting with Detroit, Atlanta is 30th in pass DVOA. Matt Stafford, got to play him.
Yes, sir.
Even after a disappointing week against the Jags.
I was going to say, we're on him last week. I'm going to stay on him. There's no way he scores less than 22 fantasy points this game.
Okay, I like it. And then his top two options, and I think really the only options you can consider are Galladay and Hawkinson. Galladay with a 23% target share, 35% air yard share in the 3 games that he has been back, and a guy who's, you know, just good. Absolutely smash spot, should be played everywhere. And then the Hawk Daddy with his 18% target share, that's 5.6 targets per game, and pretty heavy red zone usage. I'm very comfortable with him as well. I did not mention Marvin Jones because I just don't think you can do it.
Yeah, that ship has sailed on Marvin Jones. Everything else you said was dead on.
Maybe it's the week for Marvin Jones too, because
don't even speak that into existence, dude. We're having fun.
All right, going to the running backs. We saw the DeAndre Smith breakout game. Swift. I put Smith in my notes. What the fuck am I doing here? DeAndre Swift breakout game. As I was reading it, I was like, that's not his name.
It's like DeAndre Smith is like a principal name, and then DeAndre Swift is like, I play football.
That is true. He had a huge game, over 100 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, got 4 targets, but I think the usage wasn't quite as encouraging as the stat line would show. Only 38% of the snaps compared to 35% for Peterson and 22% for Galladay. He actually had 1 less carry than Peterson, 15-14. He did lead that backfield, like I said, with four targets, and he got carries in the red zone. But I watched this game, and the way that they had it was
I think Swift, Peterson let him. It was strange.
What it was Swift and Peterson were alternating series, and then Carry-On would come in to spell at random points. Jamal Agnew would come in to spell for a couple snaps. But it was basically, it would be a Peterson series, then a Swift series, and whoever guy's series it was, that's who got the red zone carries. They're not doing something where they sub a different guy in the red zone. They're basically just giving these 2 guys their own series and kind of alternating them throughout the game, which is fine. But I don't think we can take anything out. Peterson got a touchdown, and when TJ Hawkinson got his touchdown, Peterson was in for 3 snaps at the 1, and I was standing in front of the TV saying, "Please give it to Peterson, please give it to Peterson," because the only guy who was ahead of me in the power sweep on DraftKings had Swift and I had Peterson.
Good stuff.
Yeah, but they didn't do it. They threw it to Hawkinson. But I mean, Peterson was in for those 3 snaps at the 1 yard line. They're really splitting the red zone work. There is no clear goal line back. It's literally just you get a series, you also get a series, and then Carry-On's the guy who gives them a breath on the sideline for a play or 2 in the middle of their respective series. That's the breakdown on this team. So I don't think that's as trustworthy as Swift's stat line would imply. But he is clearly the better play, particularly in this matchup where they should be airing the ball out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Swift clearly has that upside that you were looking for when you drafted him. Definitely not the volume upside. And I don't think anyone is going to have that volume upside in this offense that anybody wants. And I don't know if you saw, Walsh, but they brought in Alex Collins for a workout, who is recovering from that broken leg from last year.
Interesting.
So I don't know what Matt Patricia's deal is, but he is just set on having anywhere from 4 to 5 fucking running backs that can all get the job done and giving them each an equal opportunity to fuck our fantasy team. So
yeah, he's going to re-sign Dwayne Washington in week 12 or some bullshit like that.
He gives us depth. But I don't know. I think if you have Swift, send out feelers to your league. See if you can package him with somebody. I would sell him high as fuck. It was a cake matchup. He wound up hitting on his touchdowns. I think you get rid of this dude. And if you hold on to him, you're just really praying for his ceiling plays, which are probably going to be few and far between unless it's a very good matchup. This one is a very good matchup, so maybe ride this week. But I think you sell high while you got it, and maybe eat this week if you have to, but just, I don't know. It just seems like a very good sell high that people could more work themselves into than most.
Yeah, I completely agree. You know, like I said, the breakout was kind of
foretold,
you know, masked by yes, also foretold. The prophecy has foretold. No, the breakout was sort of masked by the usage there, or the usage was masked by, I don't know what metaphor I'm trying to use. Anyway, let's move to Atlanta. The Atlanta offense has just absolutely crushed when Julio has been healthy. And, you know, that showed again this week when they fucked up Minnesota. So Julio's healthy again. Therefore, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Todd Gurley are all great plays.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's it. That's very simple now. Do you buy the Hayden Hurst garbage shit touchdown that he had?
I don't necessarily buy the garbage shit touchdown. I mean, it's possible again, but I buy the fact that Hayden Hurst, with 33 targets through 6 games, is doable in a high over-under game in a week where you might be short on tight ends.
Okay. All right.
I am going to take Detroit here.
I am actually taking Detroit as well. I thought you were going to take the Falcons, so I'm going to go with the dog here.
That's the first game I think that we were.
Yeah, we split early.
Yeah. All right. Carolina at New Orleans. New Orleans is a 7.5 point favorite with an over-under of 51. I'm interested in this game. I picked up Teddy Bridgewater in one league because I think he has a chance to overperform expectation this week, and they get Atlanta next week. So what do you think about this? New Orleans is 8th in defensive DVOA, and both of these teams are towards the bottom of pace when it comes to like neutral game script pace in the league. But New Orleans has had a very, very good run defense and not as good in the past. So for me, I'm kind of on Teddy here. Do you buy him as a streamer? I
do. And you get that like you were saying before with them playing the Falcons next week on Thursday night. I was looking to that because I'm a Deshaun Watson owner, and I was like, all right, sweet. I'll pick him up sneakily like over the weekend. Then actually Don in our league picked him up, and my heart dropped. I was like, oh, no. Teddy is gone. And then he dropped him like a minute later. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going to just grab him now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, he's a smash next week, and I think he's a serviceable dude this week. So if you're playing the streaming game, I think Teddy should just be on your radar as is, and I think that this is a game where he could definitely, like you said, overperform. The matchup is definitely there and in his favor, and with the rush game, like Mike Davis should get back on pace. Like for some reason, all of a sudden his receiving work dropped off last week against the Bears, which seemed very odd running into a very good run defense. So hopefully they don't do that here and get him more involved. And that also bolsters up Teddy's work as well. So I think he's a high upside, high floor, very good sneaky play. It just makes sense this week.
Yeah, and you mentioned Mike Davis. I think outside of Teddy, it's really easy. It's Mike Davis, it's DJ Moore, and it's Robbie Anderson, and you don't really have to think much past that. And all of those guys are like definite starts. They're not borderlines. They're definites.
I mean, like, yeah, DJ Moore is disappointed, I guess, relative to where he was drafted, but everything else has been just fucking perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, DJ Moore the past 2 weeks has been good.
He's been coming on, yeah.
Yeah, like, I'll say it now. I don't know how many of these stacks, because I've been building like 5 to 10 DK lineups a week, but at least one of these stacks, and I'm considering just kind of making it like my main stack for the weekend, is going to be Teddy, DJ, Robbie, and then Kamara coming back. And we'll get to the Saints side of the ball, but Kamara is in like,
oh man,
whoo, baby. I mean, we don't expect Michael Thomas to be back with hamstring injury that he got in practice, I guess, after his ankle injury. Not looking good if you traded for him a week ago, like I may or may not have.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, dude, it's like a huge fucking bummer. But I mean, this Carolina defense has been a run funnel where they're terrible against the run. They're like league average against the pass. So we're looking at Kamara just being in an absolute smash spot, and with Manny Sanders also on the COVID list and expected to miss this game. Like, this pass game doesn't have jack shit. So it's Kamara, it's Jared Cook, and I think it's Latavius in this matchup too.
Interesting. Just because they'll lean on him more, like maybe like double back sets, perhaps. I
mean, Latavius has double-digit carries in 3 out of the Saints' 5 games, and in a situation where they are
desperate play.
They're at a 51 point over under. What's their implied point total? 58.5 divided by 2. What the fuck is that? It's like a 29 point implied point total. So if you expect the Saints are going to score 4 touchdowns in this game, one of them is going to Latavius.
I mean, yeah, that was math. Good job, dude. I think you nailed that.
I'm 3 beers in, 3, and I can do some math.
That's also math, baby. 1, 2, 3.
Let's get to 10. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Latavius is like an absolute must play, but I do think like he's like in consideration,
If I see fucking Taysom Hill more than 2 snaps this game, I'm going to lose my shit.
That is one thing that will just like tilt me off the planet, because I plan on having like 100% Kamara probably this weekend, just being really overweight on him. And
Sean Payton must be licking his chops. Like we're going to just put in like every tight end and lineman we have and just Taysom Hill sets for an entire series. Like,
yeah,
stop doing this.
I might parody whatever I need to say to make this really, I'm not speaking the truth. I might grassy knoll Sean Payton if he puts in like Taysom Hill for fucking red zone plays. His boner for Taysom Hill is one of the most inexplicable things that I've ever seen in my football watching life.
At first it was really fun, and now it's just like, dude, you're a fucking idiot. Stop doing this.
Yeah. So you playing Taysom Hill this week then?
Yeah, I think he's great for 2 QB leagues.
Okay, good.
Sneak that guy in.
I'm gonna sneak him in like the tight end flex where he's eligible or whatever.
Is he actually?
I have no fucking idea. You think I know where Taysom Hill is eligible to play for fantasy football?
You would be the one that would know that.
Yeah, I guess so. If you do have any interest in the Saints wide receivers, they will be rolling out Traquan Smith, Deontay Harris, and Marquez Callaway. I think some people might be tempted to play Traquan Smith because he's the most known name, but over the past 2 weeks, Callaway has just as many targets. He's on the field just as much. I don't really think any of them are plays even without Thomas and Sanders.
I agree. Not a lot to capitalize on.
Okay, who are you taking here?
I am going to go with the Panthers.
All right, I'll take the Saints. I was going to take whoever you didn't because I kind of like a sneaky Panthers upset here.
I do too.
What I'm really hoping for with that game stack is the Saints go out real big with like 3 Kamara touchdowns, and then Teddy just slings it all over the field for like the second half. But anyway,
all right, and they win in overtime. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I'll take an overtime win. When we get to the Titans, I'll complain about them in overtime, but we'll. Anyway, Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. We have Buffalo as a 13-point favorite with an over-under of 46. So the first time these two met in week 1, Josh Allen went absolutely nuts. I stacked Josh Allen, Steph Diggs, John Brown, and Jamison Crowder, and it won me a couple $100. This week, though, John Brown is out, so it looks like Gabriel Davis is going to be on the outside replacing John Brown. Might be an interesting play if you're desperate at wide receiver. But yeah, this one's pretty easy, I think. It's Josh Allen. It's Steph Diggs. Cole Beasley is definitely fine, even though the Jets have been better against the slot. And despite the cupcake matchup, I'm not touching Singletary or Moss.
They've been pretty bad. They haven't really capitalized on a whole lot. with a lot of opportunity too, especially for Singletary, but Zach Moss being on the mend for the last couple of weeks has done nothing to give me confidence or any sort of hope for the future for him. And then Zach Moss, you can't really play until he does something again. So it's pretty much dead for the running backs. But I think everything else you said is that's chalk.
Yeah, if you needed to choose one, it would be Singletary, but that's not ideal. So for the Jets, it largely depends on whether Crowder and Darnold are going to play. They're both questionable at this point, but I think they're both leaning towards playing.
Yeah,
right?
they'll both go, and it doesn't fucking matter. Like, does Crowder improve if Darnold's in? Perhaps. Does Darnold make the team better?
I think so.
They're still bad, dude.
I mean, I think with both of them there, Crowder's like a definite play.
Crowder was a lock last week when we had Joe Flacco. We both said that. So yeah, it doesn't really affect Crowder. It's just, I don't know. This team just is a fucking wasteland.
So past Crowder, I mean, Rashad Perryman had 8 targets in his season debut. The Tre'Davious White and the Bills, vaunted outside cornerbacks have not really lived up to their reputation this year. So do you have any interest in Perryman as like a deep league or potentially a DFS play?
I think Tre'Davious is out again. I think Josh Norman is also out. So maybe like
maybe fire it up, dude.
Maybe DFS. I would not do that season long for sure. But I think they're very hurt. But I don't. The Jets suck, dude. I'm not doing that season long. No way.
Okay. The Jets' third wide receiver these past couple of weeks, even with Perryman this past week, has been Jeff Smith. That being said, rookie wide receiver Denzel Mims expected to make his debut this week. So not that this matters for fantasy, but one, don't play Jeff Smith. He might not play. I don't really know. And two, just keep an eye on Denzel Mims. I liked him a lot coming out of college, and I don't have good opinions on college prospects. I don't know jack shit, but Denzel Mims, I was like, that guy could be AJ Green at the next level. When I watched his tape and shit. So, I don't think that's going to happen with Adam Gase, but just something to keep an eye on. In terms of the running backs, LaMichael Pirine saw about 60% of the snaps this past week compared to Frank Gore's 35%. He had fewer targets and carries, so all that says is don't play either of them.
Yeah. There's nothing to be had there.
I'm going to take the Jets. Just kidding.
Fuck that. Bills all day.
Yeah, no, we're both taking the Bills.
Jesus. Yeah. Did you see that on DraftKings? They're plus, I think, 365 to go 0-16. It's tempting. Very difficult, even though it's tempting.
I mean, dude, that is such a low payoff for an 0-16 finish. Holy shit.
It's
every other team, any other team. I mean, is anyone else completely defeated at this point? Does anyone else have no wins?
No, dude, everyone's won except for the Jets.
Plus 365 is you would think even after 6 games, you would be able to get them at plus
600
something like that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's that bad. So I don't know.
Man, what a garbage team. Anyway, let's move on to Green Bay at Houston, so we don't spend too much time on the Jets. This is going to be an interesting game. Should be very high scoring. Green Bay is a 3.5 point favorite with an over under of 56. And both of these defenses have been pretty bad. We just saw the Titans put up 600 total yards on Houston. So hopefully Green Bay can rebound from their one game that they've had against the real defense this year where they kind of shit the bed.
No. Don't make Don or Matt mad. They don't know that. They think
that's right.
They're having fun. They're having fun right now.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. They're going to be great this week though. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is an obvious play, even though his only targets are really Devontae Adams, who saw 10 targets in his first week back. You have MVS as the deep threat. I think he's not a must play, but also you're not terribly mad, I guess, about playing him. MVS or Perryman this week?
Oh, MVS. Don't even throw that again.
Okay. All right. I'll fuck off with the Perryman stuff. And then the unfortunate news is that Robert Tonyan is questionable Tonyan. Right?
Tonyan. Yeah. I had a really hard time. It's like I was in speech class. So I was like, Funyun, fun.
I was pissed that they were like, yeah, it rhymes with Funyun. I was like, why didn't you say it rhymes with onion?
Yeah.
Funyun is a play on onion. It's not a real word.
Now that you said that, I'm more mad that I didn't even realize that at the time. Because I'm just like, yeah, like Funyun. I'm just like a dumb idiot that's like, yeah, I can relate to that more than onion. Also, I just like, what a horrible thing. Even if it was onion, it's just like, I just pictured Robert Tonyan like just like smelling like shit. I was just like, this is a smelly football player.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong there. In
Poor
terms of like
guy.
what you get in the mind's eye or whatever. But anyway, he is questionable. I don't think it's worth bringing anyone up in his stead. But if he does play, he's probably an okay play. Again, we said tight end might be a little shallow this week, so I don't mind if he does play.
Yeah, not at all. And I think like he's kind of worked his way into like that season long fuck it. Like Packers are past their bye. I think you can plug and play this guy in a good offense where Rodgers is growing to like him. So I think he's a good play season long. And I think in this matchup, it's very good too.
Okay. I want to see a little bit more of his usage with Adams back because I'm skeptical.
That's actually a very fair point too.
It wasn't even like he didn't even get that many targets with Adams not in. He was sort of just getting very valuable targets. Well,
they ride Aaron Jones like every chance they get. So I think that's really the offense's identity. But in a Rodgers offense, like it's not bad to have a piece at all.
Yeah, let's talk about Aaron Jones, who is one of the top, if not the top. Well, no, Kamara is the top, but Aaron Jones is probably the number two
or three.
Yeah, like running back play of this week. You know, at least 15 carries outside of this past week where they got blown out. In every week, and he has between 4 and 8 targets every single week. We know he's got a nose for the end zone, as some would say. Yeah, just an absolute great play.
I've been seeing a lot of injury stuff with him recently. Like he tweaked his calf, and they're like worried about re-injury risk. So I don't know what the hell is going on there, and it's already boiled down to a game time decision for him. So I'm a little worried. But if he plays, obviously smash. If not, are you interested at all in Jamal Williams? And I saw a drum beat coming for A.J. Dillon, who has done absolutely jack shit this year. So I've seen a lot of shit takes on Dillon. And then I think if Aaron Jones is out, Jamal Williams is like a must play.
I would be interested in Williams. I would not be interested in Dillon. I would want to see it first with Dillon.
Yeah. And he's barely gotten like, I don't know how many carries he has, maybe like 5. It's been few and far between.
Yeah, I'm not sure of his health status either because I know he was hurt recently, but Tyler Ervin has gotten way more snaps than A.J. Dillon in that backfield this year. He was out this past week. I don't really see a status on him this week. But yeah, consider me very, very skeptical of A.J. Dillon coming through this week.
Yeah, I think there was Matt LaFleur was saying like I have the utmost confidence in A.J. Dillon, and then there was just like people freaking the fuck out. I was like, okay, who even owns A.J. Dillon at this point? Like, what are you happy about right now?
Yeah, let him do something for 1 week and then maybe think about it is what I would say. But if Aaron Jones does not play, then absolutely Jamal Williams becomes a must start.
Yes, sir.
All right, Texans side of the ball. I think the Texans are pretty easy. You start Watson, you start DJ, you start Will Fuller, even with the slight downgrade due to Jair Alexander expected to shadow. You start Brandon Cooks in this matchup 100%. And then if Jordan Akins is sidelined again, you start Darren Fells, who had 6 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets with Akins out this past week.
Yeah. Way to nail it again, Walsh. I don't know if there's been a more slam play than a Texans tight end that is the one that is healthy and the other one is out. Like we have been like kind of like, hey, you can do it. I think I'm going to do it every single time it happens.
Yeah, Darren Fells looks like not an athlete, but he really kind of like gets it done. So
it's funny because he'll always be wide open. Like it's always around like the 35-yard line. Like they're almost in the red zone. It's just like it's this weird play they always do, and he's just wide open. And he just chugs into the end zone. Yeah,
it is a pretty wild thing, but hey, it keeps happening. Who you got in this one?
I am going to go with the Texans upset.
Okay. I will take Green Bay. And then let's move to San Francisco at New England, a game where New England is a 2.5-point favorite with an over-under of 44.5. And I have no idea what to do with any of this.
Oh, it's a play everybody game.
No.
Just kidding. This is like the messiest mess ever, dude. It's let's start, I guess, on the San Fran side, or I don't know, where do you want to go first? We can go to San Fran.
Yeah, let's talk about San Francisco because Mostert is out. He's on the IR. Tevin Coleman is not back yet. Jeff Wilson is questionable. There are like beat writer rumblings that Jerick McKinnon, they don't want him to be an early down guy anymore. And I'm like, please, like, don't let that be true. Because
I picked up Hasty. I picked up Hasty for that reason. I'm just like, I need a lottery ticket right now. I might as well take it on this guy. And then I don't know. McKinnon's been, I mean, like, why would he be like destroying? He's been out for so long. Okay. He's been okay. He's been, dude, for a guy that's been hurt and missed for the last 2 years, he's been excellent. But for fantasy wise or taking advantage of, all the time missed by the top backs here, hasn't been like amazing. So, and then towards the end of the last game, they were salting the game away with Hasty, which was very strange. No McKinnon. So I think that's the cause for the rumblings, but Shanahan knows what the fuck he's doing. So if McKinnon's their guy, they're going to come out and run him. If they want to try Hasty, they're going to come out and run him. It's a hold your ticket for this game. I don't think you're playing anybody, especially against New England, who's not really given up a ton of touchdowns, yards, anything to the running back. So I think you can sit this week out, and you and me are both holding on to our lottery tickets.
I mean, I'm going to have to play McKinnon in certain spots. But
well, I feel very bad for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I had one league where this morning I didn't actually see that beat writer stuff until this afternoon about McKinnon. So I was like, this morning,
really?
I was like, oh, dude, like he's like a smash this week.
It started like right after the game. They're just like, Hasty's got the juice. I was like, kind of.
And
very weird.
Yeah, I haven't done a ton of research until today. And so this morning, the Gio news breaks. And in this league where I need to start McKinnon, I'm looking at it and Gio's on the waiver. And I'm like, do I just pick him up right now? And I was like, I have McKinnon. I don't need him. I have that 1 week fill-in start. And now like, just like looking at it, I'm like, you fucking moron. Like, because someone else obviously picked him up like 10 minutes after I was looking at it. But anyway, whatever. I'm complaining again.
It's okay.
The San Francisco wide receivers, Debo looked great against the Rams. He has 14 targets over the past 2 weeks. I kind of don't mind rolling out Debo.
Yeah, I don't either. And even if you're worried about like the Gilmore matchup, like I don't really think that Gilmore's going to be necessarily shadowing a specific wide receiver. And I don't necessarily think that Kyle Shanahan isn't planning around that. So he gets a lot of opportunities. He's very dynamic. I think Debo is one of the safer plays in this entire matchup, honestly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It seems like it'll be fine. What do you think about Brandon Ayuk, who leads in air yards over that 2-game stretch that I was talking about? But I mean, low floor type of guy.
Yeah, I don't like him here. You're playing in a low over under game. You're playing a decent defense through the pass. I would stay away from Ayuk. Okay,
and then George Kittle, obviously, you roll him out.
Absolutely.
All right, Patriots, Cam, similar to Kittle, always a play. Just the rushing work is too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that rushing floor. So I think it's kind of underlooked right now because there's so much slam plays you can make with matchups and just guys who can go off like a Stafford, a Ryan. But yeah, Cam has that floor and the ceiling we have yet to capitalize besides that Seahawks game. And it will be capitalized probably several times before the season's out.
Yeah, and I mean, it's hard to say that the ceiling is going to be this week, but, you know, he's just got that very high floor because of the rushing. All the other Patriots, no.
Man, I don't even know what the fuck is going on. Maybe James White.
I mean, he's the running back that you would play, but also if they play from ahead in this game, which they're,
projected to, right?
Vegas thinks they're going to win. Like, maybe that swings in favor of Burkhead or Harris. So I don't know.
Probably not, though. I think White's safer than we think, but again, it sucks to commit to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it, And then Edelman's the best wide receiver play, but he's PPR wide receiver 47, directly in between Christian Kirk and Sammy Watkins right now. So like
Marvin Jones or Julian Edelman.
Oh, fucking kill me. Edelman.
I don't know what I would do. Probably Edelman, and I would be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I think Edelman has a much higher floor than Jones with that. Even with that situation, he still leads the team in target share and air yard share. I don't know, man. If you need to play a wide receiver, it's Edelman, but just don't play anyone but Cam on the Patriots right now.
Yeah, I think you're totally right.
All right, I'm going to take San Francisco here.
I'm going to go with the Patriots. We're splitting a lot. I like this.
We are. It's fun. All right, guys, we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Let's Talk Fantasy Football, home of the brutally honest fantasy advice you've always needed.
All right, we are back, but before we get into the last 6 games of Week 7, we need to remind you guys that winning season has returned at MyBookie, and winning season means doubling your first deposit. It means insane props, epic bonuses, and the craziest cross-sport wagers. Because at MyBookie, winning season means watching live sports and betting live. Sports. God, I fucked that up. And betting live sports all season long. Professionals, we're doing great. So, guys, rejoice because the NFL has returned, and that means action-packed Sundays, huge cash prizes. You got to get in on the action. Use that promo code Let's Talk and double your first deposit. New players will get up to $1,000 in free play, designed to add more excitement to the sports you love and the games you bet. So bet with the best this NFL season for your chance to win big. God, I can't believe that.
That was great.
Use that promo code Let's Talk and double your first deposit because your winning season begins today only at MyBookie.
All-time read.
So it was a page break. It was literally in our notes. It was a page break in the middle of the ad. So that's what fucked me up. And the only thing I could think of, you've seen the 2011 Muppets movie with Jason Segel, right?
Yes.
So what is it? The Miss Porgy or whatever, like the evil version of Miss Piggy, where she goes, you know how I said I would be back? Well, I am.
Back.
After 5 seconds. In my head, that was all I could think of. As I read that. Anyway, spectacular stuff. We are truly audio professionals, and we are truly fantasy football professionals. So we are here to get you through the last 6 games of Week 7, and we're going to start with Kansas City at Denver. Kansas City is a 9.5-point favorite with an over-under of 48. Bell is kind of up in the air at this point. They haven't committed to whether or not they are going to play him. So is CEH still just an RB1 here until we hear further?
I think he is regardless until we see Bell actively take away. I think we ride this until the wheels fall off, and I don't know when that will be. I mean, I'm sure Bell is going to have a touchdown snipe. Not like that hasn't already been happening or the CEH losing one on a penalty, which has happened twice or 3 times. I think CEH until further notice. We need to see Bell in action to really gauge what the fuck is going on.
Very much agree. It's a prove it situation for me. And CEH coming off his best game of the year. Denver is a much tougher matchup than Buffalo was, but not a situation where you can bench the guy who was likely your first round pick.
Yeah, and I don't think a lot of people are in any position to bench him ever. He's going to be played every single week. If you trade him, regardless, I think he's a guy that will be played more often than not. Who has room to do that?
Yeah, very much agree. Okay, for the pass game, I mean, obviously Mahomes is a guy that you are playing. It's looking like Sammy Watkins is not going to go again. So we're looking at a wide receiver core of Tyreek Hill, Demarcus Robinson, who was second on the team in snaps and actually first on the team in snaps this past week, Mecole Hardman, and Byron Pringle, who, again, we talked about it last week. Mecole, like Sammy Watkins being out does not mean that Mecole Hardman is a full-time wide receiver. They very much see him as a Tyreek Hill backup. And if Tyreek Hill goes out, he's the full-time wide receiver. He is not right now. So to me, Tyreek Hill's been a bit disappointing, but you're still obviously playing him. And then if I were going to choose someone else, it would be Demarcus Robinson.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Hardman put up another goose egg, or not another, but a goose egg. So, and we warned this, like it's gonna happen if you play Hardman in a situation where he's taking over for Samuel. Like he's not taking over for anybody. He's not filling in for Hill. So we warned about it, and it's Demarcus Robinson who would make a splash. But I don't know in this game if I would be grasping at straws with the low over-under and a game where I feel like they want to salt it away. This feels more like a Hill game. This feels more like a Travis Kelce game. CEH will get it done as well. Probably not a smash game like he had against the Bills, but still the volume play. It seems pretty simple this week.
Yeah, I very much agree with you. Kelce is an every weeker at this point and has been for a number of years. So you don't have to worry about that. And then, play Hill. You don't want to play the peripheral guys in matchups that we don't think are going to shoot out as much. So keep it at that. And let's move to the Denver side of the ball, which is a little bit tough. Drew Lock is back. Drew Lock is trying to throw the ball deep. It's not really working too well. Noah Fant is also likely to come back this week from everything that I'm reading. So I guess we can shelve the Albert Okweg-Bunam chat for another time. But the guy in this pass game who's really been doing it has been Tim Patrick.
Very, very weird.
Yeah, I mean,
like Jerry Jeudy should be the total benefactor of a whole dickload of targets. I can't understand why he hasn't had a breakout really. But Tim Patrick, I guess, is just that good, or Drew Lock is that bad. I'm having a tough time gauging the situation. It just seems very weird.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either. I guess Tim Patrick he's taking on that Cortland Sutton role, and he is like a big, fast guy, so there is certainly that. But yeah, if I'm playing anyone in the Denver pass game at this point, it's Noah Fant if he's back healthy, but then Tim Patrick over Jerry Jeudy. I think at this point, there's just no reason that you would have Jeudy ranked ahead of Patrick based on their usage and their production.
Mm-hmm. Again, coming from a guy who traded for Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing we need to talk about is KJ Hamler is expected to be back, or could be back, I believe. He is obviously the very fast, shifty slot receiver out of Penn State who, hasn't really had a ton of production, but got to just keep in mind, I don't know how many wide receivers they're going to be able to sustain in terms of fantasy production, but KJ Hamler will be back, and maybe that just lifts Drew Lock a little bit more than anything else. Still not a matchup where you want to play him. Yeah,
again, that all means nothing. It's like KJ Hamler, you're not playing. Drew Lock was never in a streaming conversation, so it's a whole lot of nothing. Yeah, no, I basically wasted 30 seconds there. You are correct. Not a shot at you, a massive shot at the Denver Broncos.
All right, let's talk about the running backs because Melvin Gordon should be back after having strep throat or whatever it was last week.
He got in trouble.
Yeah, you're probably right. So they're saying they're not going to punish him. So here's the thing. Phillip Lindsay's good, and Phillip Lindsay had a 100-yard rushing game. I know he had no targets, but Phillip Lindsay is not going away, and I don't think he should. And this is a Kansas City defense that is vulnerable to the run. So I want to be able to play one of these guys in this matchup, and Gordon is clearly the play just because he gets the passing down work. But am I wrong is it because I traded for Phillip Lindsay that I'm trying to rationalize playing him in this matchup?
No, dude, there was no inclination that Phillip Lindsay was going away regardless. Like, even when the season started, it was a 50-50 split, if not 60-40 between him and Melvin Gordon. So I don't think that's going away anytime soon. And the way you hang in games or try to beat the fucking Chiefs is you got to run the football. So I think Lindsay and Melvin Gordon both get the touches here. I think they're both playable. It sucks that you're not going to get a ceiling game out of either. I guess the ceiling game would come out of the guy that pops a touchdown, but I don't know which way that leans. I have no idea where to make that guess, but I think Lindsey's playable. I think Gordon's playable as well.
Okay, fair enough. Who you got in this one?
I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah, me too. All right, Tampa Bay. Is that correct? Am I on the correct thing? Yeah, Tampa Bay at the Las Vegas Raiders. Tampa Bay is a 3-point favorite. The over-under is 53.5. Now, we mentioned how this was moved to an afternoon game because the Raiders have the entire offensive line on the COVID list. The thing that we did not mention that is also big news, not for this game, but we do need to mention it. Tampa Bay signed Antonio Brown. He's expected to make his debut like in week 9, so we've got a little bit of time. I'm sure he's already been picked up in your league by some asshole. And
insert moron's name here.
Yeah, and it's not going to work, is all I'm going to say.
In what world would you put in a week 6 waiver period to get Antonio Brown, who is still like liable for a lot of shit, I think, and then he's like activated by the league, right? I guess week 8. But like, what the fuck you think is going to happen here? He's going to get like 10 targets a game. That's not happening. He learns the playbook quickly and you can play him like immediately. That's not happening. When would you feel comfortable playing him? I just don't understand the pickup. I don't understand the upside. I don't understand the floor. It seems like a huge, massive waste of everything.
Yeah, I mean, in his one game with the Patriots last year, he had like 21 snaps and like 5 targets, and he turned it into like 4 catches and a touchdown. You know?
Dude, that was a professional scrimmage against the Dolphins. That was last year. That was as close as you can get to a simulation with real people without being an actual simulation. I'm him for beating up the Dolphins on 3 plays with Tom Brady. Like, fuck off.
I also like Bill Belichick does that shit. I don't know Bruce Arians does that shit, you know? And I know Tom's gonna be
like I don't understand how this flipped the switch already to now they have Antonio Brown.
They don't even have enough targets to go around between Godwin and Evans is the thing. And like what makes us think that like throwing Antonio Brown in there is going to make him a fantasy asset? Like if he had gotten signed by the Seahawks, I would be like, okay, now we need to talk about this. Or even the Ravens, just because, you know, your only targets really there are Hollywood and Andrews, and you don't have that intermediate route runner. But like Chris Godwin is basically an Antonio Brown copy, you know?
Well, he's
not as good in like the prime or whatever, but he's a very, very good wide receiver.
Yeah, he'll be getting all the slot work still. I don't know what the fuck. Like, what are they going to do with Antonio Brown? Obviously, they can move him anywhere, but I don't know what they're going to do with him. And then Gronk started just coming on. That's over now. Like when Brown comes back, if he's active, I don't know. It just takes away from like the Gronk resurrection. Mike Evans, I think, is probably the worst to get the like negative bump. Like he was already not having a statistically great season by fantasy measure. Like he's been floating on touchdowns that have been borderline. Like I think you mentioned a goal line back pretty much.
Yeah.
And he is just, I think he's dead in the water, Mike Evans. And then I think Brown, if he starts doing well, he's going to command a target share. So he's going to take away from every single person on this roster.
Yeah, and this is also not a team that we project to be playing these crazy shootouts. I know this game is a 53.5 point over-under with them as the favorites. Like, obviously that's good, but like they have a good defense. You know, we're not looking at a team that we expect to need to throw the ball 50 times to regularly. So the math doesn't work for me for that. But we've covered this, I think. Let's talk about this game against the Raiders. And on the Tampa Bay side, obviously the Raiders defense is fucking not good. So where do you see Tom in this game? And then where do you see Godwin, Evans, I guess Gronk?
Smoke him while you got him, dude. I think especially the Brown news, I think lay it all out on the line. I think Gronkowski's a great stream. If not, has been a guy that you've played the last 2 weeks, I guess, since he's been coming on. Godwin, yeah. I think Godwin's the best wide receiver they have. Even when Brown comes back, I think they've established something. He knows everything that's going on, has been with Tom Brady longer in this system than Brown, which is only a couple games, but whatever. Mike Evans, I really think, is on the outside when Brown gets back. But yeah, this game, play Mike Evans like you're playing Mike Evans. It sucks, but you're playing him.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and then the running backs, Fournette should be active, but I think Ronald Jones should be a very good play. And then I want to see what Fournette does. It's his first full week of practice in a long time, so maybe we're back to some kind of weird split. But Ronald Jones has kind of been balling out, so I am interested to see if he warrants like that lead bell cow designation or if Fournette's going to eat into it.
I think kinda is like the understatement of the century. Rojo has been going nuts for like the past 3 weeks. I'm pretty sure he has 20 plus fantasy points in PPR in all 3 of those games. I'm upset that Fournette's back and potentially going to eat into this work because against the Raiders, like you want to just be able to roll Rojo in this game, right?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, if you have Rojo, you're rolling him. But what I'm saying is like you want to definitely keep a keen eye on what the fuck Leonard Fournette does or does not do. It's going to be very I mean, I in a Bruce Arians system, I feel like they just want to get Fournette 5-8 touches, something weird like that. But I don't think it's going to ruin his value this game. I just want to see what the hell they're doing season long or some kind of inclination of what kind of rotation they'll have going forward.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean, I guess Rojo is a guy that you roll with, and then Fournette, you kind of see what's going on. So yeah, you nailed it. I just got excited for no reason. All right, let's move to the Las Vegas side of the ball, where Derek Carr has been pretty good, but this is just a tough matchup. I know it's a high over under, but the Tampa Bay defense is good. I got fooled by the high over under with the Green Bay Tampa Bay game last week. And I was like, I'm going to stack this game. I'm going to put in Adams. I'm going to put in Godwin. I'm going to put in Rodgers. And what was it? Who was it? George Bush who said, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, you don't get fooled again. So I'm not getting fooled again. And yeah, I do not think this is a situation to attack for the Raiders at all. You play Waller, and that's it. I don't even think you play Jacobs in this matchup.
So my brain keeps going back to that Chargers game where Herbert just absolutely lit them up deep. And it also brought me back to where the Raiders absolutely obliterated the Chiefs deep with Ruggs, with Aguilar. So the way to beat the Bucs pass rush is to like stretch the field, obviously, but with the offensive lineman situation, it's all too much to even garner a guess. So I should probably stop talking, and they're going to get fucked up. And Josh Jacobs is a fringe RB2. Only play Waller, like you said. That's you
probably have to play Jacobs if you have him, right?
Yeah.
I said it, but then I was like, no, that's like not realistic advice.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you got your studs, you play your studs, but no, you made like a good point. Like in a perfect world, you're like, I don't want to play him. Why would I play him with possibly no lineman? So
yeah, and to your point, like I will probably have one DK lineup with Ruggs.
Right. Yeah, he can get a deep one. Yeah,
he really, for as mad as I was when they drafted him, he might be like the best thing to happen to the Raiders in a very long time. But we'll see how it works out.
I won't forget that draft night for a long time.
Yeah, I was very, very upset. But sometimes I don't know where I'm going with that phrase. Anyway, who you got here?
I'm going to go Tampa.
Yeah, me too. I'm taking Tampa. Let's move to Pittsburgh at Tennessee.
All right, I'll take the Raiders then. You took the Bengals. I'll take the Raiders.
What a nice guy. What a nice guy looking out for me there.
After I already took them.
All right, Pittsburgh at Tennessee. Pittsburgh is a 2-point favorite with an over-under of 52.5. I am interested in this game because Tennessee's offense has been absolutely stellar. Even when Derrick Henry wasn't running crazy efficiently, it's been so good. And Pittsburgh's defense has also been stellar. They haven't had a ton of wild matchups, but this is really like
The first real test.
Yeah, and it's going to be a tough test because Pittsburgh lost Devin Bush, their starting middle linebacker. I believe he tore his ACL.
He is, I think, done for the season. I don't know the.
He's definitely done for the season,
yeah,
but I just couldn't remember what injury it was. And then Tennessee's left tackle Taylor Lewan is also out for the season, and Lewan is very good, and the splits with and without him over the past couple of years have been pretty significant. So Pittsburgh, who is the best team in terms of pressure rate by like a pretty significant margin this year, should kind of feast on that. And I'm just really, really interested to see where this matchup goes. For Pittsburgh, let's start with their pass game, because their pass game is fully healthy, it seems like, for the first time in a while. Obviously, you have Roethlisberger, who I don't mind as a start this week. But then you've got 5 targets, plus James Conner, who we will get to with the running backs. But you're looking at Deontay Johnson back healthy. Chase Claypool has been unbelievable the past couple of weeks. James Washington quietly led the team in targets and air yards last week with Deontay Johnson out. He had 7 targets.
He's been good, man.
Yeah, he's not been bad. And then you've got Juju, who leads the team in targets on the season, despite like being very, very disappointing. And it was still only week 1 where Juju just put 2 in the end zone, you know? So we're not that far removed from that. And then also you have Ebron at tight end, who has been commanding some decent target share. And now you've got all of these guys healthy, I think, like healthy, and since the Claypool breakout for the first time all year, against a defense that's bad against the pass and against the run, but specifically against the pass. So theoretically, we should really, really want to attack this with these wide receivers and potentially with Ebron. But how are we going to make this work? How do you rank these 4 Pittsburgh wide receivers in this game?
Okay. Roethlisberger is probably the piece you want most. He's the benefactor, big time.
Right, because we know they're gonna do really well. We just don't know who it's gonna go to.
He has the most to gain. So great stream if you're in trouble there. Juju, you're a Juju owner, you're playing him. There's no fucking doubt about that. So I think he's automatically a wide receiver 1. That's just like, it's locked up. There's nothing really you can do about that. Deontay Johnson, tough to trust, especially with the Chase Claypool breakout. I think it's very difficult to put Deontay Johnson, even though he's been pretty fucking good when he has the chance. But like, so is everyone else in this offense. So I don't really know what that means. So I'm less inclined to play Deontay Johnson, more inclined to play Chase Claypool just because the upside is there. And then James Washington has been a guy I have in our 12-team league in the Brick League, who has been like very good, and I've never played him, and I'm having a hard time just like getting him into lineups. But he's been, again, taking a ton of targets and doing very well with them. So I think he's kind of on a floor side more than anything. And then I guess that's kind of where I lie with those 4 wide receivers. And then Ebron is just a dude who is a tight end who might score 5 or 11.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go completely different than how you ranked these guys, but
oh, fuck. Okay. Are you like on the outs with Juju? Like, well, like what would you do with like, oh, let me, all right, you go ahead and then we'll figure this out.
So I think Deontay Johnson gets the most targets of all the wide receivers in this game, and including Ebron in this. I think Deontay Johnson, it leads the team in targets in this game because that's what he's done when he's been healthy and on the field, is he's led this team in targets. Yeah, so
I'm sorry to interrupt, but like in between that, him not being healthy, Claypool has went the fuck off.
Right. So the thing with Claypool is he's like all the other 3 guys have defined roles. Claypool gets moved around the formation. He spent basically a third of his time in the X, Y, and X, Z, and slot. I might have fucked those up. You know what I'm talking about.
X, Y, is it Z? X, Y, and Z?
Yes, I just don't know which one is slot. I keep like whatever.
Let's go with Z.
I think
I actually have no idea.
Now that I think about it.
No, X receiver is the main one.
Yeah.
X is main on the outside. Y is
I don't know.
Y might be slot.
Who fucking cares? Yeah. Either way, Claypool splits his time among the 3 when he's in there. So that makes me think he's not going to play a full complement of snaps. I think Deontay Johnson has the highest chance to play a full complement of snaps. Claypool will get sprinkled in, and he's my number 2 on this. And he's my number 2, even though I don't think he'll play more than like 60, 70% of the snaps, just because when he's in there, and they've been doing this since like week 1, they will draw up plays for him. I don't know if you remember week 1. It was like he caught like a 40-yard pass down the sideline, and it was like, holy shit, like who the fuck is that guy? And then the past 2 weeks, he's had rushing touchdowns from inside the 10. Like, they're trying to get this guy involved. So while I think Deontay
You got it.
Deontay Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
while I think he has the highest target floor, I think they're going to look for Claypool more than anyone else. Juju, I just don't care about in this matchup because his ADOT is so low. His targets are fine, but it's like it's not a big enough target share to make me really want to play him, and his ADOT is low. So I'd actually go Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, James Washington, Juju Smith-Schuster in that order in terms of how I would start these wide receivers.
I think that is the exact opposite of mine. And I don't know who's wrong. It's very fucking tough to gauge.
That's the thing, is it's really difficult to know. And the way that I'm going to work this in terms of playing guys in DFS is I'm going to look at the projected ownership, and I'm going to play the guy at the lowest projected ownership. Like that's
actually not the worst, man. Probably James Washington every time, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be like my only input in that sort of thing. So we both just ranked our guys, and I think the point of this is that both of us don't fucking know.
Either that or just Juju owners are fucked.
Yeah, I think it might be that one. But we'll see. Ebron, I think, is fine for a tight end play. Like we said before, we talked about tight ends and how it's a little
solid floor, minimal ceiling, whatever.
And then James Conner is actually a good play in this matchup too, I think.
Yeah, love James Conner. I think he's very much top 10 like every single week. I think the way their defense is structured, I don't even care that they lost what's his name? I just slipped my head real quick. But I just like the way the team is Devin Bush, yes. The way the team is built, man, I think they're poised for a run. I'm scared. I don't like it.
Yeah, they're a really good team. This is 2 of the best teams in the AFC right now. So let's talk about Tennessee. I think Tannehill is going to be under the most pressure he's been under the entire season.
I couldn't agree more.
It's going to be a really tough matchup. And while I think that means you still play Henry and you still play A.J. Brown, and I guess if you've been playing Jonnu, you play Jonnu. He's supposed to be back healthy in this game, so you can keep the Ferk dog on the bench for the time being. Do you like the Ferk dog, or do we like Ferk? Is he another daddy? Does he become Ferk daddy?
I like interchangeable. I like that a lot.
Okay.
Ferk,
all right.
Ferk daddy's pretty good though.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to figure out our nickname situation, but yeah, man, like Tannehill's going to be under pressure like he's not under often. And this offense runs on play action, which obviously takes a little bit longer to develop. I'm not confident. Like I would bet Pittsburgh -2 very, very confidently in this matchup.
Yeah. Hold on. What is the spread we have currently here? I think it's actually not Pitt. It's I think Tennessee's favored. I think Pittsburgh is underdog, and I felt like an idiot slamming them.
Wait, so that's moved because
Yeah, I think it did move. When did you set this up? Thursday? No, today is Friday. So maybe you did set this up Thursday.
I think I might have. I don't know if it was Wednesday or Thursday that I got these lines.
Line is for sure moved. I know it's Pittsburgh.
How did the sharp money really move it to Tennessee? Am I that dumb in like what I'm saying?
Well, I think the sharp money is wrong as fuck. I think Pittsburgh dog is amazing.
Pittsburgh Jesus, how am I? I'm going to bet that right now.
Yeah, that's what I did too. It's like when that shit happens, though, I feel so stupid. I'm just like, I shouldn't feel this good about anything I do.
Yeah, like what am I missing here?
Exactly. So if you're betting that, like, just, I guess the thought is that Henry will just get going, because that's really the only way. Devin Bush, maybe. I think that injury definitely impacts this big time, because if they don't have Devin Bush to back up with the linebackers, Derrick Henry's going to have probably a better day. But Derrick Henry's quietly had a rough go at the line of scrimmage, despite having stellar ass games and shit like that. It's been no indication of how he's finished games, clearly, but if you get down to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're in fucking trouble. Their pass rush is going to murder you.
They have the best pressure rate in the NFL, and they have the number one rush DVOA in the NFL.
Yeah, they're going to plug Henry, and they're going to murder Tannehill.
Yeah, I don't get it. I guess the thinking is that offensive statistics are like stickier than defense, and therefore like a good offense will beat a good defense. I don't know what the fuck the theory is there. I'm just really
ever since the Broncos versus the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is like it just seems like such a slam dunk for me.
Yeah, I think the Steelers really roll this game. I don't really see how the Titans I mean, we could sound like total morons, obviously, on Monday, but fuck, I think the Steelers are a lock. I think they're going to fuck this team up.
Yeah, I very much agree. So we'll see what happens.
I love putting my namesake on guesses, but yeah, I don't know. Steelers are just too fucking good.
Their defense is just, it's spectacular. It's such a good defense. And, maybe Devin Bush is going to be more of a loss than we're saying. But Tennessee lost their left tackle, who has been a stalwart for them for years. This is not like that's not nothing.
Right.
I don't know, man.
And then name a dude besides Malcolm Butler who's playing like shit on the fucking Titans right now. Defense.
Yeah, man. I don't really have much, Adoree Jackson's hurt, right?
Nobody that's going to stop the Steelers offense.
And Derrick Henry hasn't been good until he broke that 94-yarder and then took it to overtime and scored 13 fantasy points in overtime to cost me $37,000.
That was a way better way than me saying he's been having a trouble at line of scrimmage. I was trying to articulate that and I just couldn't. He's been struggling, but I don't even know how to describe what he's been doing.
He hasn't been the Derrick Henry that we look at as this dominant guy until the fourth quarter of last week's game. And I mean, Derrick Henry, the dominant guy, normally comes about in.
Did you say $34,000?
$37,000.
Holy fuck.
His 13 fantasy points in overtime, which them getting to overtime was the variable call to do that the missed 2 point by the Texans. To take that penalty, the missed 2-pointer. AJ Brown could have been out of bounds on that play.
I'm glad they gave it to him, but now that I'm hearing this, I would be on the other side.
And then the Titans win that coin toss, and immediately Derrick Henry scores 13 fantasy points and ends the game. And also I had Will Fuller on the team that was that high up. So if that coin toss goes a different way. But yeah, literally, if you take away Derrick Henry's overtime fantasy points, I am $37,000 richer than I am right now.
Fuck.
And that was because of this 1%, less than 1% probability thing where Vrabel is the only coach who's smart enough to take that penalty. And then they drive down the field. They get that touchdown that could have not been a touchdown and was kind of like a 50-50 call from the refs. And then, the Texans before that, they go for 2 and they don't make the 2 instead of going for 1. Really, really just a confluence of everything going against me in order to prevent me from getting $37,000 richer. But anyway,
I'm really glad you're still alive, dude. Thank you.
The one thing I held on to was in week 2 when I had that big hit, the Cowboys recovering that entirely improbable
Falcons game?
Onside kick. Yeah. It was a $15,000 swing in my direction. So I was like, you know what? You've benefited from some of this bullshit this year. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, should we move on from Pittsburgh, Tennessee?
Yeah, we spent, oh my God, so much time on that.
Yeah, sorry about that. We kind of got into a hole there. 2 more games and then we'll let you guys out of here. We got Jacksonville at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are an 8-point favorite with an over-under of 49. So let's start with Jacksonville, where they just haven't looked good for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a fun offense that sucks, so it's rough. And James Robinson, another guy you also traded for, I think could possibly be on the decline just because
he's still producing, though.
He is, but like my piece would be that he's not going to be around in games where they're down. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just he's had some pretty good matchups. He's capitalized a lot, and he's been looking very good, but I just don't know if he's going to be consistently consistent throughout the season.
Yeah, no, that's a fair take. And you know, he's a guy who I like his floor because he gets the rushing work and he does get the pass work as well. But you're right. You know, it's hard to really trust that the entire season. Hopefully his matchups can get him through. Hopefully this Jacksonville offense can play a little bit better than it has been. One of the interesting things from this past week was DJ Shark had 14 targets. He didn't turn that into a ton.
No, he didn't.
But with him being off the injury report, do you trust DJ Shark in this matchup against the Chargers?
Are you asking me because you can't answer yourself?
I am asking you because I need you to comfort me.
I think I don't know. I'll roll. I'll roll them. I don't love it's. I just think Minshew's going to have a tough time, but obviously Chark is his greatest. I was going to say ally, like it's some kind of fucking war, but it's his best target that he's been paired up with when healthy. So I think they have a good dynamic going. So hopefully that gets back and it actually turns into actual points. At least you have the targets to fall back on. So I just think that the Chargers front line is going to get to Minshew, and I hope that he throws it out early, which kind of makes my argument for Chark like irrelevant because I think Shoutout probably benefits more from that, but I think Chark is just undeniably their number one and can't be denied his opportunity and, ceiling there. So in a game where I expect them to be down anyway, I would not have a problem rolling.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's tough because you said it correctly. This Chargers pass rush is good and it's healthy now. And the Jacksonville offensive line is not good. So you would expect that to benefit the lower ADOT type guys. So maybe that's Visca, maybe that's Keelan Cole, like it's difficult to really say completely, but actually I'm looking at the ADOTs now. Keelan Cole's been targeted downfield almost just as much as Shark. So maybe it's just Visca who benefits from that shit, but
fuck Cole. No way.
Yeah. All right. So I think based on that, I am going to say DJ Shark and then LaVisca in terms of the passing game. That's about it. James Robinson, you can still roll out pretty comfortably because he just has like this 15-touch floor no matter the game script. And we also know that he gets the red zone work. So, and the goal line work. So I'm comfortable with all those guys. The big play of the week that everyone's been talking about is Justin Herbert on the Chargers side. What do you think about Herbert in this matchup against the leaky Jacksonville defense?
I think it's ballsy. I like that you're kind of coasting on like how good they've been. They just had the bye to get healthy. So they get Keenan back. They get Mike Williams back, who got kind of dinged up. I would be more inclined to be pumped up about like a Justin Jackson play more than I would be about a Herbert play. I think that Justin Jackson and even really Joshua Kelly, who's probably sneaky in a deeper league, I think those two just kind of go nuts. I think it's going to be attacking this Jacksonville rushing defense that is pretty piss poor. And I think Justin Jackson has like one of the better games. I wouldn't be surprised if Justin Jackson was like top 10. And then I don't think that Herbert has a bad game. I just think that his upside is supremely limited.
Okay. That's fair. Do you think this has a chance if Jacksonville can stay in it? I feel like this could become a start everyone game. But that's also a big if. And also, I think Mike Williams' target share goes way down with Keenan back. So for me, it's Keenan, it's Hunter Henry, it's definitely Justin Jackson, and then if you're desperate at running back, it's Josh Kelly.
Okay. I like that a lot.
All right, I'm taking the Chargers.
Same.
Last game of the week, Monday Night Football, Chicago Bears at the Los Angeles Rams. Kind of a gross game, but like an interesting one a little bit. And so the Rams are 5.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5. The Rams defense is good. There's really like no two ways around it, particularly their pass defense has been very, very good. And even though their run defense hasn't been as exceptional, David Montgomery has shown that it does not matter the quality of opponent. He will still not have a good game. So I don't know, man. On the Chicago side of the ball, is it just Allen Robinson? Maybe Jimmy Graham?
I mean, you're probably playing Montgomery.
Yeah, I guess you're playing him.
You're not pumped like at all.
If he can't smash against the Panthers, what's he going to do?
I know. He's literally the floor of ceiling plays. He's always that 11-point, 12-point dude. So that's what you get. You play him here, you probably get that. He'll sneak in a touchdown. He might get over 100. That's about it for this fella.
Yeah, that was really stupid of me to say like a running back who's getting like 80% of the touches is like not viable. That was really, really dumb. And
you also like scolded me for like the Joe Mixon like thing where I was like, he won't do that well. And you're just like, yeah, he gets like pretty much what you just said about Montgomery. I'm just like, Mixon's way better than Montgomery.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But I mean, Allen Robinson is the only dude I'm touching. Jimmy Graham, probably, but fuck.
Yeah, I want to say he has about 18 targets over the past 3 weeks. So that's within the tight end threshold for me, and they clearly like him in the red zone. So I'm fine with Jimmy Graham. Obviously, don't love it. You never love rolling out, 87-year-old Jimmy Graham or whatever. But yeah, that's about it. Darnell Mooney is going to have a splash game at some point this year.
Stop.
It is not this week, but he is going to have a splash game at some point this year.
He already did. Right?
Yeah. Did he have
He did. He had a long touchdown against somebody.
I thought everything that he's done has gotten called back, or am I losing my mind?
Might be losing a little bit, but it didn't matter. I think it was against the Falcons.
No, he had 19 yards in that game. He hasn't had his splash game yet.
So everything I've seen has been called back?
He's getting
Truman Show shit is this?
He's getting a ton of air yards, but he's not getting any production.
I feel like I've seen him catch 3 touchdowns.
He has 1 touchdown on the year, and his best game is 5 catches for 52 yards.
All right. So no.
It's coming.
No, it's not. Stop.
It is coming.
No. It never happened. It never will.
All right, the Rams. This is a tough matchup. Like we said, Chicago's a great defense. They have a good pass rush. They have a good secondary.
Good rush D.
Yeah, good rush defense. And Jared Goff is a guy who does not do well under pressure. So despite the fact that the Rams are favorites, I have a tough time really wanting to play a single person because their running back rotation is ass.
Yes, terrible.
What's his name? Henderson? Darrell Henderson. I wanted to say DeAndre again. God damn it. Darrell Henderson is hurt going into this game. Fuck you. I know it's Darrell. He is hurt going into this game. So it makes it difficult to really trust anyone there. And then I believe Robert Woods is also questionable going into this. Do you have anything else on that?
Yeah, he popped up as a late no practice. So I'm skeptical about what the fuck is going on there. I feel like he's a go. I think he'll play, but I don't know. If you're a Cooper Kupp owner, I guess it's just kind of boosters your confidence because regardless, he's going to be banged up or you get more opportunity if he's inactive. If you're a Robert Woods owner, I guess pick up Reynolds or – oh, man, that fucking sucks too.
I mean, Reynolds is the guy if you're going to do it.
Honestly, I might call an audible if you can flex a tight end. I would put Woods in your flex right now and then possibly pop in like a Gerald Everett instead.
Okay, I could see that. I mean, Higbee and Everett are kind of just eating into each other's fantasy potential. I don't like either of them.
Also, Higbee was banged up as well with like a hand, but he's going. So there's a lot of.
He's expected to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This game sucks. This is like
it's not fun. It's not fun
for fantasy purposes. This game is going to suck. It'll probably be an interesting game.
It's going to be close. It's going to be like a 3-point game the entire time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting in the way that Bucks and Bears was the other week on Thursday.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
But yeah, it's not going to be a fun game for fantasy, and I don't think you should try and squeeze too much out of this this lemon or whatever, this orange. Not going to get some great juice from that, so don't even try. I'm going to take the Bears for an upset.
Fuck that, Rams.
Okay, fair enough. That's going to do it for us for week 7. We got you through all of the games. Hopefully you got the information that you needed. If you didn't.
No. We didn't hit Cardinals Hawks, dude.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? I moved it on my notes because of that. You're right. We do need to hit Cardinals Hawks, which is the Sunday night game. I apologize.
When you said that the Bears Rams was last game of the week, I side texted you on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it came up. I was like, hey, man, no.
Oh, geez.
So here we go.
All right, well, let's talk about the Hawks-Cardinals, which is the Sunday night game due to the audible made by the NFL this past week. So Seattle is a 3.5-point favorite with an over-under of 56.5. This game is going to have so many points. It is.
Bet the over and have a good fucking Sunday night.
Yeah, seriously. This is going to be a really, really fun game. I'm very excited. Russ is still cooking. The target
Kyler's fun.
Kyler's been very, very fun. The target share for Seattle early in the season, it was really easy. We were we're playing Russ, Carson, Metcalf, Lockett. And these past couple of games, David Moore's gotten involved and that kind of thing. Are we still on the same path of just we can play these guys with the utmost confidence?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much still locked down. I think if you're fucked and you need to do something like a David Moore play, sure, a Will Dissly sneak attack,
Greg Olsen
too, yeah. Anything like that, especially in this high over under, will possibly save you. If you have an injury or something, I don't know. I know that I moved Hopkins in this game because it got bumped to the flex spot. So if he can't go or something, I will gladly play Isabella or Moore, somebody like that. So with this over under, I have extreme confidence in a surprise touchdown for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I mean the main guys are still the main guys too. DK is maybe the best wide receiver in the league right now. It's super wild. But yeah, Seattle is very easy to tell for now. And do we need to consider any of the running backs besides Carson? No, right?
No.
All right, Arizona, Kyler, fucking smash.
Absolutely.
Hopkins, fucking smash.
Absolutely. If he goes.
Yes. Christian Kirk, only 3 targets this past week, but 2 of them were touchdowns. One was a long touchdown. I am more than willing to roll him out with confidence in this game.
Yeah, this one should be, if you rolled him out last week against the Cowboys, why would you not roll him out in a shootout like that? Yeah,
Seattle's given up 1,400 yards to wide receivers this season. It's by far the most in the NFL.
Yeah. Especially with a dinged up Hopkins, fuck.
Yeah, Christian Kirk is absolutely the way to go. Do you want to tempt yourself with Larry Fitzgerald at all?
No. They tried really hard last game, but no.
It's unreal that he plays over Isabella. To me, it is unreal.
He's earned it, and you know it. He deserves that spot.
Sure, but it's 2020. We're trying to win now, Anyway, whatever. You mentioned Isabella as a guy where if Hopkins doesn't go, that sort of thing, you would think he would step in and immediately become a play.
I mean, or Fitz, they both got to be on your waiver.
I'm not playing Fitz.
Okay. I mean, I agree with you, but I'm saying if somebody randomly, if you're in a deeper league, has Isabella for whatever reason, perhaps.
Okay, perhaps. I'll take a perhaps.
Thank you.
God, I can't believe he gets as much run as he does.
He really does get a lot.
Okay. Running backs for Arizona. Kenyon Drake. Busted out of his slump, 2 touchdowns, 160-something yards. He broke off a 60-something yard touchdown. I'm not trusting it. Are you?
No. But in this game, I don't have a problem sticking with him. I would not get cute with the Edmonds play. We tried that last week. Kind of didn't really work.
If you're desperate, I don't mind Edmonds, but
I feel like that's going to be what we say every week. So I feel like that stays, and I feel like the Drake thing should stay then.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That makes sense to me. Edmonds is a guy where you're hoping for either 7 targets or he just happens to get in the end zone.
Right. And he's kind of busted out either or for most of the fantasy season so far.
Yeah, I think he has 2 touchdowns on the season, and I think his season high in targets is 6. So that's not really going to get it done. But yeah, Kenyon Drake is it's tough because Seattle's a much better defense against the run than they are against the pass. So what you're hoping for with Drake too is you're hoping someone gets tackled at the 1, really. That's what you want. So that's hopefully it happens and go from there. But yeah, that's kind of what I got on this game. You got any other bright ideas?
No.
All right. Who you got here?
I'm going to take the Seahawks.
I will take also the Seahawks. I was going to try and take the Cardinals, and I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. So
they're riding too high.
Yeah. Yeah, the Seahawks are a Super Bowl contender. They're so good. All right, that for real is going to do it for us at Let's Talk Fantasy Football. I apologize for jumping the gun there. What I did on my actual notes that I take for myself, I didn't move the Seattle-Arizona game to the Sunday night slot, so I skipped over it earlier and then didn't go back to it. So apologies for that, but those are all the games. Vin, you got anything else for the people?
Yeah, so I looked up the XYZ receiver thing.
Okay.
Tight end is the Y.
Tight end is the Y.
Yeah, and the 2 wide receivers are X and Z.
And then slot is just slot?
That's all I got.
All right, well.
I hope it's just something I don't know. I guess I didn't really learn. I didn't learn anything except for.
No, dude, you nailed it. You did a great job. You told us all what's what in terms of the X, Y, and Z receivers, and we are all.
When we're saying the slot guy could be the Y, that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we shouldn't even be talking I shouldn't have even brought up that kind of terminology because we're not that. Yeah, we're not that. Yeah, smart. We're not that smart, and anyone listening to us is obviously not that smart either. So, not to put you guys down, but I mean, come on, you're listening to me and Vinny.
Seriously.
So anyway, thank you guys very much for listening to me and Vinny. We do sincerely appreciate it, and hopefully our advice does help out. If you do have more questions, please hit us up. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the website.
Home address.
Home addresses. I'll give you guys Vinny's home address in the podcast description so you can mail him a bomb or whatever. And that's about it. So best of luck to everyone. For Vinny, I am Walsh. Later, podcast.
This has been Let's Talk Fantasy Football. Thanks for listening.